How do you figure out a goal for your brand? Now, when we think about setting up a brand, or whether it's just a third-party platform store, whatever it is, in our mind, we're starting to think about what we actually want out of this. And I wanted to look at ways that you can simplify figuring out a goal for what it is you're trying to do. You know, simple sayings like don't run before you walk are very easy things to remember, but it's better to actually go with a more principled approach. And I think the first thing that you need to do to figure out a goal is to figure out what you actually want from what you're doing. Is this just a side little hobby and you actually love your job? Is this something that you want to be doing full-time in 6 months? Do you want to be a brand that has lots of shops in different countries? You know, dream big and the world's your oyster, and all these sayings sort of sit around the same process, which means you've got to figure out what it is that you want from this. Do you want this to be your life, or do you want this to just be a part-time part of your life? Whatever it is, behind the scenes of that, you have to have a goal that's going to essentially carrot on the stick, get you to that point. So one of the goals I had was just to get more clothes, and in order to get more clothes, I had to scale as a means of uploading more and employ more people and spending everything I had on the reinvestment of it. Now, a lot of people might look at that and go, that's a silly way to do it because you're not really cutting anything for yourself. But what I did is I knew that the goal was to have thousands and thousands and thousands of items online. And again, I come from an obsessive background. So I had 1,000 items, I wanted 2,000, I wanted 3,000, and I wanted to just keep going. That goal-related process for me felt limitless. Like the more I do, the more I'll get online. It almost created a never-ending loop where I had just complete constant control over just being obsessed by it. But I want to look at how you actually figure out a goal for your brand. So the first question you have to do is, what do you want this to look like in a year's time? Do you want it to be something that you do full-time? Do you want to be in the same situation now, making a couple £100 a week extra on top of what it is you do? You have to reverse engineer that point of where you want to be with how you're going to get there as a means of where you are right now. You know, if I said to you right now, I want to get over there, I know that in order to do that, I've just got to turn around and walk over there. I don't have to really complicate the process. I can do that without thinking. Over there, I can see it. But when you're looking at a goal for your brand, you can't visualize this because you can only picture it in your mind. You can't see it in front of you right now because it doesn't already exist. You have to create this into existence by a means of creating a goal that you can move towards. And you can also micro assess the goals that you set up. You could have a goal where you say you want to upload 100 products a day to your website, and right now you upload 10. So you have to look at that goal and think, how can I make 100 a day achievable? What time frame am I going to achieve that in? And what metrics do I need to be aware of in order to get to that point? You create the blueprint for the thing you're about to do so that you can understand where you are along that journey of the blueprint. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of what I did beforehand was winging it, in a sense of scaling it through aggressively doing everything. I wanted to get more clothes, I wanted to do more Instagram, I wanted to do more photography, so I just did more. So mine was the law of more and just continuing to do that. When I started, I was like, I knew that I wanted to find cool people and cool clothes. I knew that from that, I liked this whole thing of having an ecosystem of people. And I knew that the bigger the warehouse I had, the more stock I had to get. And it felt like a challenge to fill that up. Looking back on reflection, things that I would have liked to have done a little bit more cohesively would have been earlier on to understand exactly where I wanted to go so I could monitor that over those times. But if I'm being totally honest with you, the way that this exponentially grew was nuts. And I didn't have any way of controlling that because it's like, imagine every day you're posting videos on TikTok, get 200 views, and then all of a sudden you get a video, boom, 1 million views. That 1 million view video is going to change the way you look at the way you post instantly. And that was a little bit like how it worked for me when I started to get more and more sales. Like I'm telling you, it didn't just double each year. Some years it went 4 or 5 times an increase of the previous year. And that sort of growth puts you in that pressure point where I was like, I've just got to do more of the same, and the law of more. Where I want to look at with this is how you actually set a goal for your brand. And it really is just reverse engineering where you want to be, breaking it down into milestones of years or milestones of months, where you want to be, looking at that progress you make. You know, if you want to see where your progress is, set yourself a goal each month and come back to it at the end of each month and say, how did I get on? Something that I used to do would send voice notes to myself on my phone going, this time next month, this is where I want to be. These are the things I want to do. At the end of the month, I'd listen to that voice note and I would go against where I'm at and I'd think, am I achieving all of this? Am I where I need to be? Why haven't I got to where I need to be? Because the other reason why it's important to set a goal is because if you don't reach it, you're aware of why you didn't reach it. And if you just kind of ambiguously go into business going, I want to get more products online, I know I'm going to do this, then you're never going to know where you need to improve. And that would be why I say one of the most important points of actually just creating a goal that you can stick to, or a goal that you're aware of. So it's less about sticking to it and it's more about just being aware of it. If your goal is to have the best photos on Depop, then how are you going to get there? Are you going to sit there and just look at all the competition all day? Are you going to work on the best cameras to take the best photos? Are you going to understand the best way to fold clothes to take photos? Are you going to copy and paste somebody else's design and make it your own? However that process is, you have to create that thought, plant it there, and then say, this is there and I'm here. I need to get there. How am I getting there? With that thought, I would say it's really good to have a goal. It's not imperative for your business and brand. You can just keep doing it and seeing what what works and seeing what doesn't, but look at the way they show you in things like science and school. I've used this example before, but you dissect an animal. They want you to analyze what you did, what you learned, because that mindset process of understanding what you've done and being aware of where you learned something will enable you to see where you didn't learn something and where you can improve. Most people might not want to set goals, but if you set one, you know where you are. It doesn't matter where anybody else is in this situation. It's all about where you are and how you're getting there. Everybody else can stay there for all you care. You're getting there. And that's not to throw shade at people who are also in the same industry. It's all love all the time to the whole community. But in terms of you and your journey, your goal for you is your goal for you and not for somebody else. So I'm going to leave that with you here, guys. Feel free to drop a comment. Let me know if there's any thoughts you want me to expand on. I'd love to go into more of the business side, but I'm happy to go into the fashion, the sustainability, the mindfulness, or to be honest, anything. Do you want to hear about my fitness and health? I don't know. Whatever you want to know, drop a comment and I would love to go into it with a video. Guys, stay safe, sustainable, original, keep doing you, and you will see me again tomorrow at 6:30 p.m.